Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to even be a part of the process here, quite frankly. It's a great honor, and I know the significance and the magnitude and the person that's leaving this position. He's a very respected man, not just here in Fort Atkinson, but outside of Fort. He's well known and respected administrator around the state, Mr. Dr. Fitzpatrick. I was kiddingly saying, I'm wondering why he's not here so he could critique me or something. But, he and I go back to grad school. We attended some grad classes together, and so I've known him for a long time and know him personally, and I know of his leadership skills, and I know the kind of an impact that he's had here. And I truly appreciate the seriousness that the school board is taking in seeking his predecessor. Any superintendency is an important job, but the legacy that Mr. Fitzpatrick is leaving behind is certainly one that is going to be well respected and well remembered for a long time. About myself, yeah, I've been in River Valley for 20 years. They hired me. I was teaching in Marshall for 8 years. I was a middle school teacher and taught math in Marshall for 8 years. And I did a lot of coaching at that time and was involved quite heavily in Marshall. And during my 8 years, I was taking some grad classes and obtained my master's degree to be a principal, and River Valley hired me as a principal, middle school. I did that for 3 years, and they created an assistant superintendent position at that time, quite frankly. The reason they created it is because there was a very comprehensive strategic plan that was developed, and they wanted somebody to work that strategic plan, someone other than the district administrator at that time, because they had kind of split his responsibilities off into doing some principal work. And so at any rate, I was an assistant principal then for 2 years before becoming the superintendent at River Valley, and I've been the superintendent now for the past 15 years. I have a wonderful wife of 28 years, and she's a very forgiving wife, I might add. We have been fortunate to raise 3 wonderful kids, 2 daughters and a boy. My boy is 22 years old, and the girls are 25 and 28. The 28-year-old has made me a grandpa. And so I'm really proud and have some unbelievable experiences with that little critter. He's amazing. I've told a few people today the joke is that it's not a joke. He can speak. He's 2 years old and he speaks full sentences. I kid you not. You can't understand a word that he says. He speaks full sentences. No, he's quite a character, and he consumes the heart of my wife and myself whenever we get a chance to put our arms around him. I thought that the best thing that I could do here to present myself to you would be to do my best to help you understand who I am as a person. I can talk about, you know, I don't do well with bragging about my ability to do the job. I'm just going to say that I've been a district administrator for 15 years. I've been there for 15 years because I've done the job well. I've made mistakes along the way without a doubt. I don't claim that I'm God's gift to school administration. I work hard every day. I make mistakes from time to time and do my best to fix those mistakes or at least not repeat them. But I do have the experience of 15 years, and I think that brings a lot to the table. I know that brings a lot to the table. Our district's a little bit smaller than yours. We've got about 1,300 kids. We used to have 1,600. We're in declining enrollment. We don't have any money. We're running out of money. We've been fortunate. We've been able to pass a couple of referendums, 3 of them. We know, I can tell you that, I can tell you how to increase your chances of passing a referendum. I can't ensure that I have the magic wand for passing every referendum you want to attempt, but I can tell you that I know a method, a way of going about community engagement and dialogue and involving community members in the conversation and how you do that. and how you get good friends and neighbors talking to each other, and there is no doubt in my mind that Fort Atkinson has those kind of good friends and neighbors. This place cares about their community and cares about their schools a great deal, and that's the most appealing thing to me about Fort Atkinson. I want to be in a district like that. I want to be in a district where I know that the staff works hard. I saw some amazing things today. I was fortunate to have a tour. Thank you to administration for taking me around today, and I was fortunate to visit each one of the schools. And as I drove down here today and thinking ahead of time about today, I had in my mind that I was going to be able to visually see the inside of the schools and probably shake a couple hands and see a few folks, and that would have been enough, and it would have been enough. That was kind of what I had in mind, frankly. But what I got out of today was much more than that. I was able to talk a little bit more with some people. I was able to hear the explanation by the very kind and knowledgeable administrators that took me around, and they told me more about the detail of what goes on in these classrooms and how hard the teachers are working in this district, and the incredible things that are going on with brand new literacy initiatives, some of the technology integration that's going on. You have got many things to be proud of in the school district, big time. Big time. And I want to be a part of that. I have an interest, for me personally, why would somebody want to come to Fort Atkinson and be a superintendent? He's been a superintendent for 15 years in River Valley. Why do you want to leave that? We're not in any hot water, not in any trouble, there's no big conspiracy going on. Hopefully, I think the school board has done a rather thorough job. After I made it through the first interview, for crying out loud, they asked me for 10 more references. They wanted to keep calling people, trying to find some dirt on me, I guess. They probably found some. I don't doubt that. There's probably a little bit out there. As I said, my wife is very forgiving. No, the interest that I have in the district and trying to convey to you the kind of person that I am, I think, are probably the two most important things I could do with the few minutes that I have here. And so I tried to explain some of the things to you about your district that are very appealing to me. I'm not applying for other jobs. I couldn't even tell you other jobs that are vacant, other than I think Milton's looking for a school administrator. I'm not interested in any other school district administrator position besides this one. I showed my wife the nice write-up. I'm going back to Fitzpatrick again. I don't know why I keep talking about that guy, but I showed my wife the nice write-up they had in the paper about an award he received from the Lions Club, and she looked at me and said, "Are you nuts? You think you really want to go and try to fill those shoes?" And I said, "You know, I think that's what they're looking for. I think that's what they all want. And you're never going to get that, ever. But what I would bring to you would be somebody that would work hard every day, that would build, I guarantee you, the kind of relationships that he has made with you and with the public. I'm personable. If you get to know me, I think you'll find it easy to call me a friend, somebody that that you can rely on and believe and trust what I tell you is the truth. If I don't know the answer, I won't give you an answer. I'll tell you, I'll try to find it out. Some of the things that, you know, we all have to be good stewards of our schools and of our communities, and truly I do believe, and I've looked into this, trust me, I've investigated this, I've looked around your community and talked with people about your district, and there is no doubt that you have the kind of loving and caring staff in this district like no other. The teachers here are exemplary, and they need to always be treated that way, obviously. And I know they are respected. I know that. You wouldn't get the kind of community support that you have for your schools if people in the community didn't feel that way about the quality of education their kids are getting here. And you all should be very proud of that, big time. There's a certain element of pride that you should feel when you leave the building today. as y'all had a chance to come together and kind of reflect on what is it that you're looking for in a superintendent, what is it that we want our schools to become. I hope that I can offer some of that to you. Our kids are the message that we, this generation, that we send to the future. How we treat them, how we educate them, what kind of values and beliefs that we instill in them, that's the message that we are all going to send to the future. And I believe strongly that public schools play a big part in that, along with families and communities. We have a moral obligation to provide the best opportunity that we can for our kids so that they can succeed in their personal life, so they can be productive members of our society, so that they can care about their neighbors, so that they contribute to their community. This district here understands all that, and they believe in that. They believe in those values. I'm just so impressed. I myself, I strive every day to be a difference maker. I want to be a difference maker every day I come to my job. In some way, shape, or form, I want to be a difference maker for kids. My work should support teachers because they're in direct line with the kids. My role as an administrator is to support the kids. My role is to communicate with the school board, with the community, to connect in the community, to be respected and to represent the school district in the community in ways that you all would want me to do that. And I just described some of the things that I know this community stands for and represents, and therefore I assume you would want your next superintendent to do the same. I'd like to be a part of this team. We've got some good people here doing good things. Other things about myself, I'm a collaborator. I like to work with people. I don't like to dictate. If I need to make a decision, I can do that. I can make a quick decision. I can make a fast decision. I've had to make decisions on my own without any input from other people, and I can certainly do that. But generally speaking, the way that I form my opinions and my views is I listen to how other people feel, and then I compare them in my own mind. How does that weigh out with me? I like to get ideas from people. I think people are smart. I think they have ideas. They just need to be asked to share their ideas. And I would do that if given the opportunity to be your next school leader. And so, without trying to ramble on the kind of leadership qualities that I have, I hope that you all get a chance to feel as though maybe you walk out of here knowing a little bit about me personally, a little bit about what kind of a person that I am as a human being, and believe that when I tell you my work is centered on building relationships. Relationships, relationships, relationships. If there's nothing else that you remember about what I said tonight, I'd like you to remember that I said I believe much of my work is built around relationships. And that's important. So, questions? I tell you enough about my background. Yes?
Yeah, could you give us any examples of programs or initiatives that you've supported?
Programs or initiatives that I have supported. Well, one thing, and it's interesting by comparison, and I know I've shared this with others today as well, our school district is quite proud of our literacy initiative that we started a 4 blocks guided reading approach. At the same time, we integrated with that, we established a sit-and spelling program and a 6 traits writing program because we needed to improve our entire overall comprehensive approach to literacy. And we did that with what I call the flywheel effect. We stayed at it in a respectful and a mindful way for teachers so that we weren't throwing too many things on their platter at the same time, but we provided the kind of staff development and support that they needed to get those initiatives going. And we're quite proud of that. Most recently, another program, we are in our District K-12, we've implemented this year a PBIS. That's a program here, a positive behavior intervention strategy program that's being implemented perhaps more so in your elementaries, maybe, I'm not sure, to some extent in middle school. In a nutshell, what that is you did something wrong, you have a detention. That's the old way of doing it. PBIS is a program that helps build character and helps to rebuild what it is that what the student has done wrong to another student as an example, how they apologize for that, how they make it right, and how they understand that that's not how we treat people, instead of just throwing them in the detention room. There's more to it than that. There's a lot more to it than that, but it's a restorative justice kind of approach. Those are two recent examples. We've done some things with technology that I'm quite proud of. We've made some advancements there. We've got room to grow, but you know, some of the things that we've developed, I'm trying to think of a more specific program. We have a charter school in our district. It's actually an elementary K-5. It's an arts integrated charter school, very exciting. 70 kids in that program. Remember, we're 1,300. I have some smaller elementaries, and it's not really 70 sets of parents because there's some siblings, but for 50 sets of parents to be as excited as they are about that arts integrated K-5 charter school, and that's a new program that's current, up and running, and would receive high marks by those that are involved.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Hi, Ken. I'm probably known for not keeping my mouth shut. This is a question that I have.
You should run for school board.
I am. As a matter of fact, Mr. Shady and...
I knew that. I was joking. That was a joke. I knew that. One thing is certainly refer to the hard work that's already been done with the strategic plan. There's been some people that put a lot of time into developing that, and that now needs to be carried out, and there's some specific initiatives there that I would want to keep going and or implement if they need to be started. I mentioned the literacy initiative and some of the things you're doing with technology, some of the things you're doing in your high school art program and your music and your band. I wouldn't come in there and change a whole lot there, frankly, other than see what else I could do to support them. So you've got some good things going on there. What kind of a process to use for changing things? First of all, it's going to take me a long time to figure out what those things might be in my own mind. If I think something needed to change, I better spend some time asking questions and observing and doing a little inquiry and so on before I would want to pass judgment to suggest that anything needs to be changed right now. I'm not aware of one thing. I'd be willing to bet there are some things that need to change. Process for doing that. I like a professional learning community model where teachers, this is a formal model that, again, we just started doing this in our district, PLC, Professional Learning Community. Google it up. Richard DeFore, significant author in that department. It's a process of bringing staff together where they themselves study what some of the best practices are and share ideas with each other, maybe look and discover, yeah, we maybe need to change something here. Maybe we need to change that reading initiative. Maybe we should do some different things. You're doing great things with your coaching and peer mentoring. Those kind of things are ways to actually even discover. It's not just that we have a cookie cutter today and we want you to do this process. The professional learning community promotes collaboration and discussion and looking at data and research and identifying what some of the best practices are. And so then maybe if we're not doing that, maybe we need to change. But you know, I don't have any doubt if I spend, I'm not going to put a day or a week or a month on it, but given enough amount of time, I probably would identify maybe a curricular area or a program that I think needs to change. And for me, I would work, my opinion would get channeled through principals, and I would say, hey, what do you think about this program in your building? Do you think that maybe we ought to consider looking at this? Would you do a little more homework on that? I'm kind of interested in this area, and I'm not sure that we're doing enough in elementary keyboarding. And so I believe in the importance that our principals need to have autonomy. They need to be able to be the leaders of their buildings. I don't want to micromanage those kind of changes. And so those would be some of the processes that I probably would use in looking at and considering whether or not some things need to change.
I think it's very positive that you are already a superintendent and you don't have to go from being a principal and going through that learning curve, because that takes a long time. And you passed referendums, which is the way of the future. But I'd like to know how, if you took this job and come in, how do you feel you're going to get to know the needs of the teachers, the buildings, the community? How would you set that up for yourself?
How would I get to know the needs of the staff, of the buildings, of individual teachers, of the community? Well, one thing I would definitely need to, there are a lot of different ways. Whether I want to survey staff, survey community, I want to have listening sessions with staff, with the community. I'd like to see where not just listening, when I say listening, they're not listening to me, by the way. Community engagement sessions where questions are being asked that they want more information on, and we're going to provide that to them. And a process where when they're speaking to us and suggesting ideas or have questions about certain things, that they're feeling like they're getting honest answers and they're not getting lip service. I would need to go out and shake hands and knock on some business doors and introduce myself. I'd need to get involved with the Chamber of Commerce. I'd need to get connected. I would ask other people, drag me around town and introduce me to some people that I need to know. There's a lot of different ways that I would need to make those connections. I need to attend events and shake hands with people and introduce myself, whether it's a community event or whether it's a school event. I have the interest in doing that. I want to be involved in those things. It would not come as a job to me to do that. It wouldn't be difficult for me to do that. I would enjoy doing that. I do enjoy doing that. Those would be some of the ways that I would then hear from other people and make some of the connections and find out what it is that this community wants from their schools, and work my darndest to provide that, to help others to provide that. Get in the shepherd's game.
If anybody has any last questions, go ahead and ask.
Questions?
We're a little short on time. So.
You got one burning, I know you do.
Packer fan or Bear fan?
Next. Packers, Badgers, Brewers, let there be no doubt. Fitz is messed up, I'm telling you.